Again, good morning and welcome. I am David Kramer. I'm the Executive Director of the George W. Bush Institute based in Dallas, Texas, and want to welcome all of you back here for, as I said, the 8th conference here in Tbilisi. This conference, of course, would not happen were it not for the leadership of Nino, Evgenidze, and the Economic Policy Research Center. Please give them a round of applause. We also want to thank the Rooms and Istanbul hotels for this beautiful setting. Each year they have welcomed us here, as have the Georgian people with their tremendous warmth and hospitality. We would not be here were it not for the people of Georgia. So our huge thanks to them, to all of you for welcoming us back here. We also want to thank the donors who make this conference possible. Thank also to the panelists, some of whom have been here before, some of whom are here for the first time. But the fact that they are here is a reflection of the interest in Georgia among people in the United States, elsewhere in Europe, and even from Asia. So I want to thank all of you who have made the journey here. For some, it's a very difficult journey, particularly those from Ukraine who have traveled here under some difficult circumstances. So huge thanks to you for coming. I run the George W. Bush Institute, and as you all know, President Bush is the only American president to have visited Georgia. That reflects his interest in what is happening here and Mrs. Bush's interest as well. And they send their best greetings to all of you here today. We are here at an interesting time. We're here as Georgia seems to be at a crossroads. The situation is both highly polarized and highly politicized. And today, the NGO legislation kicks in. And we'll be following that closely to see whether that takes Georgia down the wrong path. The uncertainty about the elections is also very palpable. And it is, we decided this year not to include any representatives from any political party to speak on this platform, but people from any party are welcome here to attend the conference or ask questions. We felt in this current election environment, we would avoid having representatives of political parties. That's the first time we have made that decision. But it is also a reflection that we want to stay out of the politics here. It's up to Georgians to decide whom to choose as their leaders. We will hear from a number of people in civil society offering their views about what's happening here, a civil society that unfortunately seems to be under growing threat and assault. In some cases, literally assault. And as I said, it is up to the people of Georgia to determine their future, to choose their leaders, to decide on their future orientation. But it's also clear that the reason Georgia has stood out for many people in the United States, for people in Europe and elsewhere, is because the people of Georgia are so pro-Western, so pro-European, so pro-American, pro-democracy. The people of Georgia recognize that their future is with the West. Georgia's leaders need to reflect the goals and aspirations of their people, of that orientation. The term global war party that we have heard has been used recently. I find it rather stunning that it is supposed to apply to the United States. Nobody wants the war that Vladimir Putin started against Ukraine to spread any further. The United States does not want to see Georgia get dragged into the war. Nobody wants to see Georgia get dragged into the war, and to suggest otherwise is utter nonsense. It's absurd to describe us as part of the global war party. The real global war party is headquartered in Moscow. After all, it is Russian forces that occupy 20% of this country, not American forces. And the war party started, really, I think you could date it back to 2007 with the cyber attack against Estonia. And then, of course, the war against Georgia. The first attack against Ukraine in 2014, and then, of course, the full-scale invasion in February of 2022. We want to discuss all of this today and tomorrow. And we want to cover other issues too, including, of course, Ukraine. And we have the great fortune of hearing from a number of Ukrainian speakers today. We'll discuss how to hold Russia accountable. We'll discuss elections in Europe, including the ones just yesterday in parts of Germany. Future of Europe, EU, and NATO. We'll cover the threat of disinformation and cyber and information wars, part of the larger battle between democracy and authoritarianism. And we'll wrap up with discussion of elections in my country, November 5th, that will have a huge impact, not just in the United States, but frankly around the world. All of this makes 2024 a pivotal year, hence the title of this year's conference. Before handing the microphone to Nino, let me just explain a few housekeeping rules. Toward the end of each panel, there will be an opportunity for attendees to ask questions of the panel. I underscore the word questions. We want questions, not statements or monologues. We are using interpreters, so please keep that in mind and don't speak too quickly. And perhaps most importantly, the goal here is to have a civil dialogue and debate. There can be passionate views on certain issues, but it's important to show respect for those with whom you may disagree. So again, it's great to be back here. Thank you all for coming. And now let me turn the microphone over to our host, Nino Evgenidze.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And welcome back, my dear friends, because we are really fortunate that having such a brilliant amount of people and our guest speakers who really done everything to come and be with us today in this very critical time for this country. And first of all, I would like to express my gratitude to McCain Institute and, of course, David Kramer, who is a mastermind of this conference, and we all have to applaud him for this, making this great conference. Now it's the 8th time. We are very grateful to of course, the Stamba and the Rooms Hotel and our creative teams from the Tricolor Studio, who every year makes this political arts, and exciting a piece of arts every year. And of course, our donors who are kind of founding partners of this conference from the US Embassy, USAID, UNAC, the USAID Good Governance Program, Open Society Foundation, Civil Society Foundation, TBC Bank, and this, again, the co-sponsors, the Rooms Hotel and Stamba Hotel, to make this happen in this very, very nice atmosphere. And of course, the war in Ukraine, for 99% of Georgians is our war. And that we have to very grateful to the Ukrainian people to their sacrifice, because they are not fighting only for Ukraine. We know this very well. And we are very proud that the Georgians, thousands of Georgians are fighting shoulder to Ukrainians, and because we all understand it's our common fight, and we cannot leave alone each other in this very, very important times to these both countries. Also, you know that I'm not gonna go in details. You all know what is going in this country, and the next panel will be dedicated on that. But I'm very proud that I belong to 99% of the civil society organization who is not obeying the Russian law and who is not registering, because everybody knows that today is a deadline for all of us to register, and no one is gonna register to this, the Russian base, because it's gonna prove again that, that the Georgian people were not the part of this oligarchy state capture regime what we got right now here in this country, and we're not gonna follow these rules which the Putin's, the leftovers are introducing to us here in this country. We all understand the elections are coming, and it's very important. And also in this week, we're remembering to all these people who were killed 100 years ago, just here in this country, to resisting the Russian communist Soviet regime. And all these people died because they were not obeying the Russian totalitarian regime. And here now we're in this, the critical moment right now, that if this law and if the few further actions of this current Bidzina Ivanishvili's, the government will continue backsliding Georgia, we might, lose our country. But we're not gonna surrender, And as Senator John McCain said, that the world is a very dangerous place, but it's also the place for opportunities. If you really want to change this world and use these opportunities, you just do be brave, Rest is so easy. And I'm gonna stop here. And glory to Ukraine and glory to Georgia. We will win.